Happy New Year, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Smartphone World. Unlike the last episode, I have a few things about Apple I have to talk about today, of course. I'm going to be giving you a full spec rundown on a few phones and comparing them at the same time. The Oppo Find 5, the new Sony Xperia Z, and the Huawei Ascend D2. I'm also going to be talking a little bit about CES, considering we're about, a week away, week and a day or something like that. And actually found out a couple of things about LG for the CES. Yeah, we'll see. Alright, well, first off, I'm going to talk about Apple. I can't believe, like every single year, everybody keeps falling for this. Well, maybe this will be the first year that they actually come through, where I'm hearing news about the new iPhone 6. They're calling it iPhone 6.1. iPhone 6.1, really? I don't know about that, but maybe that's just like a little tag name that the testers are using and everything. It looks exactly like an iPhone 5. So, like I said in a couple episodes back, I said it's going to be probably called the iPhone 5S. It looks exactly the same. It's going to be the same size probably. I'm saying probably because who knows if Apple will actually step up and start doing what all the other smartphone companies are doing and bumping them up. I mean, we're starting to see every company with a 5-inch display. All of them. They're all putting one out. And Apple just cannot compete with any of those. And it is getting to the point where people would just, bigger is better for a lot of things. And that is one of them. So, what else are they talking about on this new iPhone 6.1? Well, they're saying that it's going to have iOS7 in it. What a surprise. That isn't a surprise, guys. We all know that when a new iPhone comes out, it comes with a new operating system, and that just makes sense. Let's just hope that the map program in that one is a little bit better. The integration for applications running on a 3.5-inch display to a 4-inch display convert over a little bit better. And I am hearing about on how the new chip is not going to be made by Samsung. Well, we know about the patent wars. It obviously did put strain in the two companies' relation. So, Samsung is not going to be making the chip anymore. Now we're going to have the Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. If you've never heard of them before, they pretty much make a large majority of the chipsets for all smartphones all over the world. What are they saying that's going to be in this chipset? They're saying that it's actually going to be a 20 nanometer processor, which it's about time from Apple. I got to tell you. All their chipsets are high nanometer. I mean, they do have excellent battery in their phones. Their batteries aren't that large, but they do last a long time. But at the same time, their displays are tiny, so you really don't need that much power. So if they do decide to up their display and join the rest of the smartphone world, and using a 20 nanometer processor that would be hopefully quad-core, 1.5 or better, I can actually see Apple competing. Now, they're saying that this smartphone should be due out by mid-2013. Every single year they say the new iPhone is going to be out by mid-2000 whatever. And it comes out in September. Maybe this will be the first time that they actually come through with that. Well, they are putting out quite a bit of iPads one after the other, and upsetting their customers that way, so why not do it this way too? I mean, everybody was just dumping all their money into all those iPhone 5s and using their upgrades, and now they're going to have the iPhone 5 for 2 years when the iPhone 5S comes out with all these upgrades that should have been in the iPhone 5. I mean, do you Apple fans really like that? You're going to have to come up with another $600. Or $700, $800 to get this new one after you signed 2 years for that one that you got, the iPhone 5. What can you do? Alright, well, now I'm going to move on let me talk about the Oppo Find 5. It is being released first quarter. Well, it's the new year. This is the first quarter of 2013. So it should be happening very soon. I mean, with CES around the corner, we could start seeing the Oppo Find 5 going all over the place. Now, what's the big deal about the Oppo Find 5? Well, at first I thought it was going to be a lighter phone. Obviously, the 5-inch display, it's going to have a 2500 mAh battery. It's about 165 grams. Yeah, it's a little bit on the hefty side, but it is a bigger smartphone. It's going to be under 9 millimeters thick. That's pretty good. And the display, as I said before, it's going to be a full 41 ppi display. It's an amazing display, very high resolution, true HD 1080. It's awesome. It really is. And when I say 1080, guys, I'm talking about full HD. Full HD is not only the pixels. Yes, the pixels have a lot to do with it, but true to HD for 1080 is a wider screen. That is what I'm saying with true HD. You can have the pixel density with a 720 display, but it's not going to be a wide display. You understand that, right? Okay. I mean, I understand that the 1920 is the width, and then the 1080, it's still, that is the display that everybody is going for. When you go onto a YouTube video like this one and you hit that little settings, you notice how you can go all the way up to 1080 HD? Well, what do you expect? Again, with the Oppo Find 5, what else is it going to have? It's going to come in 16 or 32 gig internal memory, and I'm not hearing anything about a micro SD slot in this thing, which to me is a little bit of a failure, because I think every smartphone out there should have it. Mine has it. I don't know why some of these new ones aren't having them. I don't know why HTC has dropped off the map with them. Hopefully in the new M7 that's coming out, we'll see it in there. What else will it have? Well, it's going to have that 13 megapixel camera in it. You know, you're going to be able to do panoramic shots, just, you know, like a lot of Android smartphones out there. Let's hope that it has, you know, the photosphere. We can do the whole thing. It's going to, of course, it's going to have geotagging, but it's going to have high HDR. That's really good recording for video. You want that. 30 frames per second, 1080. I was hearing some rumors about, you know, 120 frames per second. I got to really look into which phones are actually going to be coming out with that kind of quality video. It's going to have the Snapdragon S4 Pro quad-core processor, 1.5 gigahertz, which we know is very good. It's going to be coming with Jelly Bean right out of the box, and hopefully soon it will have the new one available, you know, by the summer. Key Lime Pie. I believe that's what they're going to be calling it. Now, how does it compare to the Huawei? Well, the Huawei also has that 5-inch 441 ppi 1080 by 1920 true HD display. What are the dimensions on it? I have no idea yet, guys. I do think it's going to be a little bit of a thicker body. It does have a 3000 mAh battery, which is 500 more than the Oppo Find 5. So you can expect that it will last a little bit longer, considering that it'll have the same chipset. From what I know, it's going to have the quad-core Snapdragon S4 Pro processor, 1.5 gigahertz quad-core processor. It's going to be coming with Jelly Bean, and it should be upgradable later on. Now, what makes it better or worse than the Oppo Find 5? I have no idea. It also has a 13 megapixel camera. It also can do all the other things that, you know, everything the Oppo Find 5 can do. Both of these companies are pretty much small compared to Samsung, HTC, Apple, even LG, Sony, Motorola, and they do have a little bit of a ways to go before proving themselves to be better than, you know, what we are dealing with now. The fact that the Huawei has the micro SD slot and you can expand their 32 gig internal memory a little bit more is a huge win to me. So, if you ask me which one's better, I'm starting to lean towards the Huawei, only because it has a larger battery, it has the same display, it has a micro SD slot, 32 gig internal memory, Jelly Bean, 13 megapixel camera, HD recording. It has everything. It looks terrific. Now, will the Huawei operating system on top of the Jelly Bean be better than the Oppo? I have to check them both out to tell you. I already can tell you about LG, Sony, Motorola, HTC, Samsung, because I've used them. They're more common and they're everywhere. These two, they, like I said, they're going to have a little bit of a ways to prove themselves. From what I see now, they look terrific. Now, how does it compare to the new Sony Xperia, the ZZL that I keep hearing about? Well, those pictures are pretty awesome. It does look nice. They both look nice. 5-inch display, S4 Pro processor, 2 gigs of RAM. Now the RAM on the other two, I don't know. Oh, well, no, the Oppo does have 2 gigs of RAM. You should still see Huawei come out with 2 gigs of RAM. That's what we're seeing in all the smartphones. Same thing, 1920 by 1080. What is the resolution? Is it going to be a Super LCD? Is it going to be AMOLED like the Samsung Galaxy S4 that I keep hearing about? I don't know. We'll have to find out. But I know the Oppo Find 5 has the IPS LCD, and the Huawei have no clue. I guarantee in a couple of weeks we're going to find out every single thing we need to know, because CES is around the corner. And we'll find out exactly what we're looking for. It doesn't have a 13 megapixel in the Sony, it has a 12 megapixel, but it's Sony. Sony makes awesome cameras. We know this. Alright. What else? What else is in the news today? I definitely have to talk a little bit about Samsung, because Samsung's coming out. You know, they're definitely the leader in the world with cellular phones, smartphones, whatever you want to do. They lead the world. They sell the most. And this year, well, they're going to be pumping out 500 million phones. 310 million of them, or 390 million of them are going to be smartphones. But that's definitely number one, guys. I mean, come on. They're coming out with the Galaxy S4. They have the 3, the Note 2, 3 that's coming out. And just imagine anything else that they're going to be coming out with. Sony has repeatedly been the leader. They put out great stuff. You can always count on them. Now, let's talk about CES. It's going to start on January 6th. That's where there's going to be, you know, the opening ceremony. It's going to run the 7th, 8th, and 9th. And how it's going to run is NVIDIA is going to be doing their first press conference on the first day. That's all that's listed so far. So hopefully we'll hear more about that Tegra 4 processor with the 72 graphic cores inside that thing. I definitely want to hear more about that. But January 7th is a big day. We have LG opening up, AT&T following, Huawei, Intel, Samsung, Sony, and then Qualcomm ending the day. Believe it or not, out of all of those, I am more interested in Qualcomm. They have been quiet. I want to know if they're coming out with another chipset that will actually, you know, go up against Tegra. Let's see. January 8th, we have ZTE, Verizon, and then T-Mobile. And the final day on the 9th, Samsung is doing a keynote. I will be doing day-to-day shows covering the event, telling you everything that's been happening and anything new that's been coming out. What I can tell you is LG is planning on giving us a 5.5-inch smartphone, a 7-inch tablet, well, and they're going to be pumping out TVs, but that's not really what we're here to talk about. But their 5.5 is supposed to be a full HD 403 ppi pixel density display. So it's going to be full HD. It is probably going to be running Jelly Bean. It's probably going to have 12 megapixel or better. We're definitely going to have to find out. I had no idea that LG was going to be showing off any type of phone like this. After the new Nexus phone that they pumped out, I didn't know that they were going to show anything until, you know, Barcelona, the Mobile World Congress. But the 7-inch tablet, that's going to be a full HD 1920 by 1200. That's going to be a nice size display. And that one's even supposed to have 324 ppi, which is very high for a tablet. So the fact that they're going to be showing that off before the new iPad mini that's supposed to be shown off in a couple of months, showing the new HD display because they failed on the first one, this one's going to be quite the competition for it. I can't wait to check it out. That's going to be pretty cool. As I find out what other things the companies are going to bring, I mean, you know that Oppo's probably going to be showing off theirs, the Oppo Find 5. Sony is going to be telling us all about their new Xperia ZL and Z, and we're going to see more about Huawei and, you know, ZTE's 5-inch and that other 6.1-inch tablet. Let's see if what Samsung's going to show us. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please give me some comments about what you want to see. Share me on your Facebook page. Have a great day.